Howard Roake is an uncompromising modernist who blows up his own building when he sees that someone has altered it. He is also the romantic hero of Ayn Rand's novel, The Fountainhead. Alongside Roake, there was also Peter Keating, a compliant and pragmatic fellow who will do anything to keep developers and the public happy. He is, however, the architect no one remembers. In this video, we will be reading The New Architecture, an article written by Sarah Boxer for the New York Times. The article discusses the revival of pragmatism. Are architects becoming more like Keating and less like Howard? More business-oriented and less visionary? What is pragmatism in the first place? Before we begin this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more readings like this, and now let us investigate. The revival of pragmatism. If Roake was the caricature of independent-minded modernism, Keating has become the caricature of architecture's latest trend, its embrace of pragmatism, the century-old American philosophy of Charles Peirce, John Dewey, and William James. For a few years now, pragmatism has been enjoying a little revival. Pragmatist anthologies have been published. There is a group of prominent philosophers, including Richard Rorty, Cornel West, and Hilary Putnam, who are identified as neo-pragmatists. And now, there is a budding architectural movement. Are architects becoming more like Keating and less like Howard? More business-oriented and less visionary? Is this the end of grand modern architectural theories and the beginning of cost-driven practicality? Or is this an attempt to ground architecture in a philosophy that is all American rather than European? What does the marriage between architecture and pragmatism mean? The answers are not all that clear, even to pragmatism's advocates. Pragmatist architecture is defined mostly by what it is not. It has no fixed notions of truth or beauty. It does not advocate one artistic style over another. It does not link a particular style with a particular meaning or form with function. It is not modernist, postmodernist, or deconstructionist. In fact, it doesn't really even have practitioners. It is, as John Rachman, a philosopher, said, focused on things we can't quite pin down, on unformed things and interstitial spaces, in things that are not yet made. The pet phrase of pragmatist architecture, things in the making, comes from a quote from William James. What really exists is not things made, but things in the making. Once made, they are dead. What is pragmatism? Pragmatism is first and foremost a philosophy with a non-absolute idea of truth. 100 years ago, James wrote that a belief is true if it benefits us to think so. You decide that God exists or that the sky is blue simply because you like the practical consequences of thinking them true. James asked, what difference would it practically make to anyone if this notion rather than that notion were true? Or, as he once put it, what is its cash value in terms of practical experience? One of the main ideas that architects have taken from pragmatism is that truth and beauty are all tied up, as Dewey said, with the rest of a human experience. They are organic, they constantly shift, they evolve. In fact, truth and beauty are 2 out of the 7 lamps of architecture, which we have discussed through a 3-part video on our channel before. Make sure to check it on the card that just popped out, and we will keep a link down in the description. Robert Brugman, an architectural historian, offered the shifting history of the Marquette Building of 1893 in Chicago as an example. It was built to overcome certain technical problems, particularly the difficulty of fitting a very tall skyscraper in a very narrow lot. When the building was finished, it was the model of modern upheaval, but soon it became a familiar prototype for other skyscrapers, and then a historic landmark. In other words, The building has never had a fixed meaning. The truth about it has changed over time and it will continue to evolve. Pragmatistic approach. Pragmatist architecture does not have a particular style so much as an approach, and that approach appears to be a readiness to roll with the punches. Skeptics worry that this kind of thinking is simply a rationale for accepting the status quo and making the best of it, the way Peter Keating would. Pragmatists, though, say that this isn't necessarily so. It's the buildings themselves that matter. To a pragmatist, the building is more important than the thinking. Naturally, this irritates those who think of architecture as a form of critical thinking. Peter Einsman, an architect known for applying the deconstructionist ideas of Jacques Derrida to buildings, said that a building should not complacently occupy its space, waiting for people to react. Rather, it should say something about the space it occupies. Mr. Einsman cited Frank Gehry's buildings, with their sloping walls, as examples. They are not just buildings, but also critiques of buildings. Why would architects want to do away with the theories that have inspired modernism, postmodernism, and deconstructionist architecture? Ram Koolhaas, a Dutch architect who studies urban situations in the Third World, suggested that the shining of European theory and the embrace of homegrown American philosophy is an imperialist gambit, a way for Americans to assert themselves in the world. So far, the wedding of pragmatism and architecture is fraught with paradox. This movement, which values making over thinking and realism over fantasy, has produced no buildings to speak of, and is haunted by two fictional architects, Howard Roake, the unbending modernist, and Peter Keating, his practical nemesis. We have now reached the end of this video. Suggest other readings we should do down in the comments and make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching and we will see you in the next video.